Okay, so you wrote this actually a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Okay. And it's titled 10 Tips for Parents of Athletes. You get a pretty good reaction online when you post about these specific topics.
Yes.
Okay. Shall we go over the list?
Let's do it.
Okay. Control your emotions. Be a consistent example of mental stability. Show them how to properly respond when things don't go our way. They will be able to get the most out of their skills when they are mentally in control.
So for athletes to be able to compete at their top level, what's going on between their ears needs to be as clear and as focused as possible. And the hard part with kids is that they are immature. Emotionally, they're not mature yet. Physically, they're obviously not mature yet. Sometimes they can do pretty special things, but in general, they're all still babies at what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure this thing out, enjoy it, but also have as much success as they can.
Yeah.
So with that, for them to be able to do what they're trying and want to do, they want to do great things. They have a better chance at making that happen if what's going on between their ears, again, is clear and focused and confident. Young minds are so, I don't want to say delicate, but they're not mature enough yet to handle when things around them, when the voices around them, when the adult emotions, the adult body language, they're not in a place yet where they can process it well enough to know that they need to ignore it. And when the adults are losing their mind over whatever it is, and again, we talk about it a lot, if it was an umpire's missed call, if it's a coach getting frustrated and throwing his hands up in the air, dropping his head when one of the players makes an error, the kids see that and they start behaving and thinking the same way. So the mental stability with the parents and the adults, and I know this topic is mainly about the parents, what they say in the car ride home, what they say around the dinner table, the little comments they make. If they're making comments about their child's teammates making mistakes or the umpires, that's what they learn how to do. So there's a level of mental stability and awareness that the adults need to have for the example they're giving to their kids.
So could some of these emotional reactions from the adults, I mean, in my mind, it puts pressure on the kids to perform even better, which can lead to overthinking. They're trying to overperform to maybe not really to please anybody, but they become scared to make a mistake because of the emotional reactivity of whoever's out there. So like in my mind, it becomes pressure,
Well, the kids
like
are,
self-imposed pressure.
yeah, the kids already put enough pressure on themselves as it
Right.
is.
Right.
Right. And most of these kids are very fearful of making a mistake.
Yeah.
We don't want them to mess up. We practice so we don't mess up. But the reality is that this game is so hard that even the best in the world fail often every day.
Well, the reality is that we're all human.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
So
nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes, no matter what you're doing.
So the kids, and I was actually just talking to a parent about this yesterday, the kids are so hard on themselves. They hold in so much, they internalize so much that they don't give themselves permission to make mistakes. So when they do make a mistake, not only do they come down hard on themselves, but when they have the adults around them that are also making comments, they can see the body language. All of a sudden, you got these kids, they'll do something, they'll look at the adults, they'll do something, look at the adults to see what that reaction is like, because they're not playing for themselves. It's almost like they're performing for the adults around them versus going out there and enjoying the game and trying to do the best they can.
I think that's the point I was trying to make. It becomes like literally performative.
Yeah.
You're trying to do something, perform in a way for somebody else.
Yeah.
But so they don't react a certain way.
Yeah. So in the end, to this point, for the kids to give them the best chance at mental stability, that clear mind, the adults need to set that example.
And that doesn't mean that you have to be emotionless.
No, it's an emotional game,
Right?
It's an emotional game. There's going to be disappointment and frustration with not performing well, making a mistake, but it's the reality of the game. So we just have to learn how to control those emotions, how to process those emotions. So 20 seconds from now, a minute from now, next inning after the game, I'm still not holding on to the emotions of that mistake. Very easy to talk about.
Yeah.
The hard part is being out there and actually doing it.
Yeah. Okay, next on the list is support them away from their team. All players should practice their sport on their own time. They will always have more time away from their team to get better than they will while with them. Help them develop this great habit. Help them learn to take their development into their own hands.
So we call it backyard development.
Okay.
Coaches with their teams have very limited time with players. So we're talking 2 to 4, we'll just say hours a week that coaches have most. Some coaches might do things a little bit different, more or less, but coaches have a very small window each week to help kids with their skills. And even then when that comes, you have 1, 2, maybe 3 coaches that have 9 to say 15 players that they're trying to work through all these drills and whatever it is the practices. So the reps that happen at a team practice are so limited compared to the amount of reps, quality reps, talking about the game, watching the game that can happen away from team practice. So the support that kids get at home from parents, from siblings, the growth that can happen in that area will almost always supersede the amount of time that kids spend with their team practicing.
And it could be something as simple as playing catch, even with a neighbor kid.
Sure.
Playing catch could be it. It can be hard to get your kid to do even just a little bit of practice on their own because they want to hang out with their friends or play their video games.
Yeah.
To me, this is way easier said than done, and it's a great idea. I think, how do you keep it from becoming a source of tension between the parent and the child when the parent knows it's better for them to go out and do something, even hitting one bucket of balls and then be done? Like, it doesn't have to take a super long time. How do you get your kid to do that when they really are just like, I'm tired?
The difficult part for this generation of parents, our generation of parents, is that there are so many more distractions for these kids. You mentioned video games. When it comes to young boys, videos dominate most households.
Yeah.
And it's so addicting to these kids. That's how they hang out with their buddies. They put these headsets on. Our kids have done the same stuff. That's how they hang out with their buddies. It's so fun to them. The games are addicting, and it becomes all these kids think about. So getting kids to do stuff on their own can become a source of tension in a household. So maneuvering that, suggestion would be to set some sort of routine. Like when he comes home from school, he's going to grab a snack, he's going to do his homework, and then you're going to go out and do this baseball activity today, or we're going to go out and do it. When the kids are younger, when I'm talking pre-teenage years, they need their handheld during a lot of this stuff, unfortunately. When they become teenagers and how kids are changing during those teenage years, puberty starts setting in, the adults have to start letting go. If they try to force their kids to do things when they're teenagers, and these teenagers are coming into their own voice, they're getting some confidence within themselves, that testosterone starts flowing and they start puffing their chest out a little bit, it can really become a real source of tension at home. So finding that balance, you would hope that as kids are going through this process in their life away from baseball, what's going on inside their body, that they would keep that love. But in the end, it's got to be up to the kids, especially when they become teenagers, to want to get better. We can't force it on them.
Amen. Okay. This is a good one. Be realistic. So put them in a position to thrive. We want them to get better, but just because we want them to be ready for a certain level doesn't always mean that they are ready for that level. Just because that's where their friends are doesn't mean it's the right place for them at that moment.
So the game for all of us started at T-ball, or most of us started at T-ball. We went into coach pitch, and then we go into kid pitch. In those early years, a lot of it is, hey, are your buddies going to be on this team? It's a family affair. It's a friend affair, right? So when they're younger, that is what you gravitate towards. Let's have a team that all the kids know each other. It's going to be awesome. As the kids progress, as they get older, especially with there's so many options nowadays. Way back in our generation, there was just Little League. That was it.
Right.
So there was no...
If you wanted to play, you played Little League.
Yeah, there were no other options. Club ball, Little League, City League, whatever you want to call it. That stuff wasn't around back then. But like now, even when families are looking at certain club teams, club programs, some of these programs are more high level. They are attracting better athletes.
And when you say that, do you mean just kids that are just naturally more athletic?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. They have the ability to do things that the same age of kid, they just aren't there yet. Doesn't mean they won't be at some point, but right now, they're not that ability. So if you put your kid on this team, and a lot of teams now, they have tryouts, so they will kind of pick and choose which players they want. And even some, they have so many kids that they will have different levels of talent, which those situations, you would hope that the people in charge are good with that evaluation and put the kids with a group that matches. But even then, I think the most important part of this part of being realistic is the parents acknowledging where their kids are compared to their friends. Like some kids are maybe they're going to move on to club ball, but some kids, they are still, and I hate saying this, but like Little League, Rec League, City League, it has become more of where your kids that aren't as talented tend to go. So we have to be realistic about where our kids are and which area will fit them best to grow. Like putting your kid who isn't quite there yet somewhere where he maybe is not ready for because his buddies are there, and then all of a sudden he's not playing, it becomes frustrated, disappointing, sadness creeps in, we start to lose love for the game. Like that's not healthy. I'm not a fan of where the game has gone.
Yeah.
How you get these parents, all they want to do is be a part of super teams and super programs, and then you got teams that are winning so many games, they're rarely even losing. It's not quite realistic for what the game is, especially as they get older. That's a different topic. Learning how to lose, how to handle yourself when the game is hard is a huge part of it. And when you're on such a dominating team that rarely loses, it's always fun. It's happy-go-lucky. We're kicking everybody's butt.
It's
and then
super fun to go undefeated all season. It's super fun. And then everybody's high on life and
and then they meet their match. Things aren't easy, and they have not learned how to work through that.
Or even just like make adjustments.
Yeah, but that's a part of getting your butt kicked, is making those adjustments. And then the parents start getting all emotional. The coaches do, the kids do. A lot of these kids, they've done so well at younger ages, they haven't learned yet how to fail with grace. They haven't learned how to process tough stuff.
Yeah. Okay, this next one is one of your very favorites. I know it. Don't allow excuses and blaming. The longer they do this, the longer they will stunt their own growth. Teach them the difference between the controllables and the uncontrollables, their attitude, effort, energy, and focus.
So I talk about this one a lot.
Yeah.
We've talked about it in other episodes. The reason I talk about this so much is because I was the example of this. As a young professional especially, I pointed fingers so much, and I ended up realizing, luckily the game gave me enough time to work through this, but
to work through, get to that maturity level of self-awareness to be like,
So becoming great at this part of the game has to be a consistent message from, again, the adults. This is about parents, right?
Yes,
parents, coaches, as parents, we are coaches to our kids. So you'll hear me use those two titles together often, but we have to recognize when they're using them. We have to nip it right away. But then also, just like I think the first one was like, we have to be the example of it. The conversations that we have, we can't allow ourselves to make excuses for them for why they didn't do something, right? So like as a pitcher, if I threw, I'll say 50 pitches and I'm struggling with command, I'm not tight enough with my command, I'm not executing pitches, but at the end of the day, I want to talk about my teammates' mistakes or a few calls that the umpire missed. My focus is not in the right place. My focus is on the uncontrollables versus the controllables. And that habit is super unhealthy, not productive. And a lot of the parents, they often get caught up in it. They're trying to protect their kids. They don't want them to hurt. They don't want them to feel failure.
Yeah.
So they have this habit of participating in the conversations, encouraging them, and allowing them without calling them out.
Yeah, a tough one. Okay. Think twice about your conversations. What are you allowing? What are you participating in? We just talked about this. What are you instigating? The tone, the message, the impact. Know this too. Sometimes the best thing we can say is nothing at all. Silence is okay.
Okay. So since we just talked about that, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we handled our children when they were athletes, because I was aware of this. And Brooke still plays, but because I learned about this part from my career, when our kids were playing, our boys finished playing when they were younger, but obviously Brookie's still playing. The boys, we didn't talk to them back then, but like Brookie, we don't ever talk to her about her teammates' performance. We don't talk to her about the coach's decisions. If a line judge miss a call, we're not going to talk about it after the game, because I know that it's unproductive, right? We may bring up, like, say a set for Brookie was
too high,
too low. Brookie's job in that moment as a middle blocker, when she's going to hit that, she has to make an adjustment. Not always possible, but that is what she has to do. But if she comes out of that throwing blame at her setter for not putting the ball in the right spot, that's an unhealthy outlook on it, right? Because nobody's perfect. It's her job as the athlete to adjust to whatever that situation is. So the conversations, how they're steered, what we choose to talk about as parents, what we choose to give attention to. Ricky's really good about it. She doesn't ever come at us and start talking about any of that stuff.
Right.
Shoot, she barely wants to talk about the game. But
we'll drive to and from practice in silence.
But if she were to start saying something, I know that both you and I at some point, maybe not right then in the moment, but I mean, if she went off the rails, I'm going to call her out right then. 100%. But like at some point we would for sure be like, look, that's the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah.
And
I think it's one thing if they're venting about, like, they're frustrated, like, I wish that would have been like this. Venting is okay, but
Yeah.
To your point, when you're talking about it and what you're doing is placing blame everywhere else except yourself when you too had made mistakes,
Yeah.
that is absolutely not ever okay.
And again, I learned as a player, again, luckily I realized it before my career was over, but God, I made so many mistakes. You know, if I threw 100 pitches in a game, my attention needs to be on how I did my job.
Right.
And if I allow my mind to wander on how other people performed, that's not healthy. I'm not going to get any better from those thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ooh, this has 2 exclamation points. Slow down. It's a process. They all grow at different rates. Support them, encourage them, motivate them, and help them be their best, but be careful of comparing them to their peers. The process and journey is different for all. Some are early bloomers, while many are late bloomers. The most important years for an athlete's performance don't even happen until after puberty kicks in. And again, that even hits at different ages. We've experienced this whole puberty stuff with Christopher, and I mean, he was a really late bloomer.
Yeah. I think the culture of youth baseball right now, and this is probably in all youth sports, but with social media, someone has a good game, you know, the parents will post everything out there, and then other people see that, and a little bit of jealousy, I'm sure, kicks in. Comparison kicks in. We played with so-and-so a couple years ago. Look how good they're doing now, but we're not. So with that, these parents start feeling FOMO, fear of missing out. They start feeling this pressure, and then they start looking at their kid different. The process is never ending. The process never ends. Right. So even for me, I started playing when I was 5 and didn't finish until I was like 32. The process of learning and getting better went all the way till I was 32. Right. So it literally never ends, and there's no roadmap for it. Like every kid that I work with, they're all at completely different stages. I can work with a 12-year-old 1 hour that it probably should be playing at a higher level. And then the next hour, I have a 12-year-old come in that is really struggling with the age group that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
They're both kids, they're both athletes, but they're just at a different place.
Yeah.
So we have to be realistic again. We have to have an acceptance of where it is. We have to have the tools ourselves to be able to help our kids wherever they're at.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we have to be patient. We have to slow down. We just get so caught up in the moment. And that's where a lot of these emotions come from, is that we have to be perfect right now. When a baseball season, we may start practicing in January, February, and this season's not over until you get into summer. And then we're going to do it again next year, and we're going to do it again the year after that. If you step back and you look at your kids, they for sure have gotten better every single year.
Yeah.
That's the process of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be better at letting the process work, supporting our kids where they're at, recognizing where they're at, and do whatever we can do to help them get to that point.
Even just I call it zooming out. Don't be so zoomed in on that one particular thing, because in the bigger picture, when you zoom out, that one particular thing, you might not be able to see it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At some of these tournaments, even where we just were, there were 10-year-old teams.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your 10-year-old team, how they finished in the tournament. It's super fun for the kids to go, and it's fun. I'm not trying to be ugly about 10-year-olds at tournaments, but I just hope the parents of the younger kids are not putting too much weight on that final result of that tournament or even a single game, because zoom out, it won't matter.
Yeah, I would bet you most parents do have a good perspective on it. But then there are some, and we see them at these games and tournaments. Some of these adults, they're just crazy how much adrenaline and anxiety is running through their veins at these games. I have never seen it before, to be honest.
This crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably because I know in the earlier days, you did spend time in the stands, doing charge. But even then, when you're in the stands all the time and you see those fans going palms up, oh, come on, it does happen.
I think a lot of that stuff, that anxiety comes from not competing enough in your life. I think a lot of these emotions come from not knowing how to handle them because you haven't been in that situation yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know how to process. And I think we're all watching your kids, you do feel some excitement for them, some adrenaline, some anxiety, but some parents out there, they just can't control themselves. The adrenaline comes out in rage almost sometimes. I hear some of the stuff that these dads say. I heard a dad the other day drop an F-bomb about one of the players. And, I'm like, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
It's this stuff is wild to me.
Yeah, I agree. The lack of self-awareness. Yeah. I'll have a lot of adrenaline, but it's in the height of the game. It's not because I didn't like the ref's call or the line judge or one of the girls messed up or whatever. It's just the height of the excitement and watching these girls they're absolute beasts out there. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so fun. Like that's where my
Yeah.
adrenaline's, it's like, it's so fun to see that level of competition, kind of like you kind of see it bubbling up throughout the game. And then, sometimes the end result is exactly what you want. And sometimes it's not. And it's super disappointing when it's not how you wanted it to end. But at the same time, that was so fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what in my opinion, that's what it needs to be. It
Mhm.
needs to be like you're there to enjoy the process. And even on the bad days, the losses, how could we have gotten better? That's it. Like,
Yeah.
we don't need to hang on to this. It's over.
Yeah.
You mentioned 10-year-olds. Everyone's a little bit different. I remember nothing from when I was 10. Nothing. My parents might. So the adults are
Right.
going to remember some of the stuff. But the truth is that these kids, no matter if they have an amazing game or the worst game of their life, when they become teenagers, there's a great chance they won't even remember that. But in that moment, we just get so caught up in the moment, the adults do,
Yeah.
that they just become poor examples for the kids. And then it keeps happening because we think that tournament baseball every weekend is a World Series, right? I've written about this before. You play 4 games, you win 3 out of 4 games. That is 750 winning percentage.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But everyone looks at it like, oh, we lost the last game. The whole weekend was a failure.
We didn't win the championship
Yeah.
because we lost the
Yeah.
last game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
And so with that sort of like energy of treating every weekend like it's the end all be all, with it comes too much out of control emotion
Yeah.
for some people.
I seem to remember us starting with our kids when, like, especially when you were traveling, playing, or coaching, it wasn't, did you win? It was, how did you do? How did
Yeah.
your teammates do? Did you have fun? Or just a simple, how'd it go?
Yeah.
And not a, did you win? Because nobody wants to see like, oh, we lost. But like, if you just push the win-loss aside and focus on like, how did you perform? Whatever. Did you have fun? How'd it go? Like,
Yeah.
it was like, you don't ask like when you come home from work, you're like, how was your day? Just a
Yeah.
general, how did it go kind of question. I feel like that's a win-win question. And it sets the kid up to think about not necessarily first, did we win or lose? But when you say, how did it go? Or how did you do? It's more about, it's not focused on the win-loss. It's about, their experience.
Well, that question also reveals where the kids' heads are at. Because I asked that question.
Also where the adults' heads are at.
I asked that question to every kid I see every day.
I know, I hear you.
And too often in that response, somewhere in there, umpires come up, teammates' mistakes come up, and coaches' decisions come up. Almost all the time. Almost every kid. And again, one of the reasons why I write about and talk about this topic so much is because I literally hear it every day from kids
Multiple
and even
times a day.
parents. Parents will say like, I know I shouldn't say this, but the umpire was horrible. Like they like literally can't let it go.
Don't.
They cannot, even though they know,
Yeah.
like stop giving attention to it, even though they know that they shouldn't, they just still do. Because they feel like their kids are getting screwed every time. So much attention gets put on teammates' mistakes, umpires and coaches. Like there's so much attention on those things that again, like I said, I can't even talk to a kid about how he did, what could he do to get better, what did he do good, without that coming to the conversation because it is thought about and talked about so much. Yeah. It is the culture of youth sports. The lack of accountability and the amount of excuses. Even though like we try to soften the excuses, it's still an excuse.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you how the umpire performed. I didn't ask you how your teammates did.
Right.
But you're going to share that with me. You're going to volunteer with me how everybody else did. I don't care. I want to know how you did. How did you handle it when your teammates made 2 errors in a row? How did you keep your emotions in check?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I'll talk about this on social media and some parents will chime in like, sometimes it feels like it's not even worth it. The kids are making so many mistakes. And I go to like, what do you think it was like for all of us when we grew up playing the game? Do you think that we didn't have any mistakes made behind us? It's literally a part of the process.
Probably because what we're all remembering, even if it's like subconsciously, is how fun it was.
Yeah. Going through that is a part of all these kids' journey to get to where they want to get to. They're not perfect. The kids aren't perfect. The parents, let's start digging into your life. Let's start talking about how you perform on a daily basis. How are you with your emotional control, right? But we give so much attention to all the uncontrollables. It's a constant mindset and habit of pointing fingers. Again, I get passionate about this because it had such an effect on my game, and I realized how bad it was.
It's almost like when you're stuck in traffic. It's super annoying. I mean, I'm the worst at being patient with slow drivers and traffic and whatever, especially if there's no like obvious reason. But like, I cannot, within my car, I cannot do anything about the traffic jam,
Yep.
the accident that's a mile up the road. Like, I can't do anything about that. It is what it is. You'll get through it and you'll get on with your day or your drive or whatever. Like, honestly, I kind of have to remind myself of that sometimes. But like, to me, that's kind of what it is. You got to go through it to get to the other side. Okay, we have 3 more.
Okay.
Next one is look for leaders. Place them in front of those who are great people who will help instill the same values you're trying to teach them at home. Raising children is hard. Never underestimate the power of outside voices.
If I had a choice of who I was going to have coach my kids, not me, not you, if they were going to play for a different coach, I would 100% put the type of person that person is or those coaches are ahead of their knowledge of the game. The kids can learn a lot about the game when they're at home with us, watching YouTube. There are so many other ways to learn the game. Now, obviously, if you can find everybody in the same package, amazing.
Yeah.
But I would 100% look for somebody who is going to be a great example of the type of person I want my kid to be. If they're going to hold them accountable, I want someone around my kids that's going to call them out the same way I would call them out. I want somebody who is self-aware, who knows that their body language and the words that they say are impactful. That's what I'm looking for in someone if I'm looking for a coach for my kid. Again, we can watch baseball on TV at home. We can talk about what we're seeing. We can go out and play catch. We can do some pitching in the yard. But I'm looking for someone who's going to be impactful on the type of person I want my kid to be.
Agree. Stay away from drama. Youth sports has a way of becoming a toxic environment, from gossip about other players to coach bashing to berating and belittling officials. Don't be a part of it. Don't get sucked into the emotions of it. If you want these years to be as enjoyable as possible, beware of the nonsense and stay away from it. I can be guilty of this. I'm just going to say right now, there's definitely times where I've been pulled into the conversation about why isn't the coach doing this? And
well, I do know this. It's really easy to coach and umpire from the stands.
Yeah.
It's the easiest place to do it from.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have any of the pressure, when you are not making the decisions, when you're not trying to make a split-second decision on a pitch that's on the corner, a bang play at first base, whatever. Really easy to make those decisions from the stands. And especially now that we'll have phones and there's a lot of video happening, it's even easier to be a replay professional.
Yeah.
Really easy.
And
to be honest, no. But like some of that stuff is making the culture even worse.
Yeah.
Because we have this in our hand, we can see, did they get that call right or wrong?
I've also replayed video to see.
Well, sure. We all have. I mean, I remember.
Because I mainly just want to see, I'm not trying to, the call isn't going to change. Like, that's what gets me is when parents are like, they're flipping out. And I just want to know, do they think the ref is going to like hear them be like, you know what? You're right, pal. We're going to turn that call. Like, it gets on my last nerve. But
ref in volleyball or umpire in baseball?
Whatever. Ref in volleyball.
Okay.
I did not say ref for baseball.
Okay.
I know better. But I have gone back and looked at video to see, did they touch the net? Was it in or out? My mind's going to volleyball, of course, but
Well, I think it's important to mention, and I write about this too. I have video. I probably have deleted it since, but Bricky had a kill, and I looked to see where it hit.
Yeah.
And it was out of bounds, but they called it inbounds. In baseball, so often, again, all we want to do is give attention to the calls. We look at replay of the calls that we think they got wrong that hurt us. Why don't we look at the replay and look at the calls that, oh man, they missed that and it helped us.
We got the...
Yeah. But again, the culture is literally to only focus on the ones where we feel we got screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if you were to replay like a volleyball game, let's say, and like confirm each call, keeping track of the mistakes, would it actually make who lost one? Like, what are the chances that
it's funny you say that?
It's that many mistakes going, against one team. But anyways,
it's funny you say that because I actually plan on writing something about, I think that there should be a new position on every team. And it could be a parent position. It could be, someone that's videoing out from like center field if possible. But to record it and mark down, tally each missed call, we'll say pitches, for example,
Okay.
each pitch call that was a ball that was called a strike or a strike that was called a ball. Acknowledge both ways.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, let's look at those numbers and see if they impacted the game somehow.
Right. I
Yeah.
think I had either that idea or talked about it in another episode that
Yeah.
like there's got to be some statistic somewhere that maybe there isn't of
Yeah.
the wrong calls.
Well, like I said before, the ABS.
I think you
That's-
just want to feel justified.
Yeah, the ABS that's happening in Major League Baseball with the automated ball strike system.
Okay. Is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. That, again, is making everything even worse for youth
Yeah.
umpires because that is becoming the expectation.
Well, that
like
and
everybody
just,
will
like,
pull
the
out their phone.
challenges.
If they used ABS in youth baseball, it would be awful. There would be so many more walks
Yeah.
because a lot of these kids are baby pitcher. They're young pitchers. They're like
And
new.
the umpires are giving them grace. And,
Yeah, there's
you
newborn
know,
pitchers. I mean, if you gave a kid 10 pitches and said literally throw it in this 17-inch wide strike zone, 1.5 feet tall, maybe 2 feet because the kids are smaller,
mhm.
I mean, they'd be lucky to get 2 probably. Even your better ones. Like that's how hard it is. And people don't realize it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. This is about them. Please don't ever let sports come between you and your child or children. Don't let your attitude about their performance cause strain in your relationship. This game is a temporary phase in their life and meant to be enjoyable. Your relationship is forever. Nurture it now to have for life.
So we give our kids for 18 years at home, average. That's when they become an adult.
Legally.
Yep.
Yeah.
They will play, some of your kids will play sports for, say, 13 of those years if they start when they're 5.
Kindergarten through 12th grade.
Yep. Let's say your kid lives to be 80 years old. And let's say those 13 years are the only years that they played sports. They stopped playing in high school, after high school. A lot of kids even stop before high school.
Yeah.
So,
Or at some point
so-
in, like,
yeah,
they'll
so
play freshman year maybe, but then,
yeah, so 13 years is one of the longer phases for some.
yeah.
So if they live to be 80, you have all those other years where they did not play sports. This is one of the most temporary things in their life are these years where they get to go and enjoy sport, multiple sports, have fun in it, and along the way learn some life skills, learn work ethic, learn accountability, learn to be a great teammate,
Yeah.
learn humility. So there's all these things that we could use sports to help them grow into prepared adults, that we need to see it more for that than it's a way to, whatever it is, win some trophies, win some rings,
Be entertained, be active.
Yeah, we have to stop thinking that them playing is to entertain us. Like, that's not what it is.
Right.
They're out there doing something they enjoy. Be grateful and enjoy it for what it is. We have to be very careful of making it bigger than what it is. It's literally, it's a cliche comment, but it's just a game.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
I got to play it for a career, but it's in the end, it's just a game. Like here we are. I haven't played for a long time. The most important part in our lives is making sure our kids are prepared for life as adults. That is what life is about. It's not about, even Brookie, she's still playing volleyball. It's not about who she is as a volleyball player, who she becomes. That's a part of her life.
Right.
Right. And we can teach her how to use some of these things to help her grow into the woman and future mother that she's going to be. But her life is not going to be defined as what type of volleyball player she was as a teenager.
Well, and also you don't want your child to put all of their self-worth and their identity into this that, like you said, is so temporary. Like that's going to set them up for a bunch of problems.
Yeah.
If that's the only thing they know how to identify as is a whatever player, baseball, volleyball, whatever, an athlete, and then that ends.
Yeah. Well, that happens a lot.
Who am I? Yeah. Who am I? What do I do? What do I like? How do I want to live the rest of my life?
It's a deeper topic than I think a lot of people realize. Even, let's say, baseball players that get to go and play into college, even from there, maybe they go into pro ball. That's all they've known for their life up to that point. They see themselves as a baseball player. In that moment, they can't imagine doing anything else.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, their college career comes to an end. Their major league dream comes to an end as a professional. They don't make it that far. Now they go into the real world. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, they are lost. They don't know what to do. They can't imagine what their life is going to be like when they're not going to the baseball field every single day. when they're not scheduling when they're going to go and do some tea work, whatever it is.
Mhm.
They don't know what to do. So again, as parents, we have to find this balance between loving the game with them, helping them become the best they can at it, and who else are you?
And also, it's probably easy to kind of fall into that trap because especially with this tournament ball, every other weekend, it's almost like your whole life revolves around this sport. A lot of money goes into it, a lot of time, a lot of energy and effort to and from practice, playing, all the traveling. It's a lot. And it's probably really easy to let it become your life because of all those things that you're pouring into it. But you just have to remember that it isn't everything. And what's that one saying? Baseball is life, but baseball is everything.
I have that written down.
Ah.
Baseball is life, but there's more to life than baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to touch on what you just said.
Okay.
You just listed off time, money, practice, traveling. You just listed off everything that the parents hold inside of them. So when they think about their kids playing the game, all of that goes into those emotions.
Mm.
And that is where a lot of tension comes from, because the parents, they'll go to games and their kid will struggle and their mind goes to, I paid $500 for that bat. That's a $300 glove. We just spent $600 on this hotel room.
Yeah.
Right. So their mind goes to these things and
like, you're not going to perform and I'm putting all this money into it.
It builds up inside of them. And so a lot of the adult emotions come from that stuff. The adults have to do a better job at separating the two. You're choosing, mom and dad, you're choosing to spend that money. You're choosing to take time off of work. That's a choice. I know you're doing it because your kid loves it,
right?
But that choice is on you. Do not take the emotions from those choices and put them on your kids.
But also, yeah, it's not your kid's responsibility to justify everything that you're choosing to put into it. It's not their job. They're not getting paid to do that. When you get to the point where you are getting paid to do that, then it's your responsibility to perform. And then, your bosses and upper brass people will hold you to that commitment. But I don't know. I just can't imagine feeling like that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. And again, I can say there's people that do because they make these comments on our social media stuff. They will come at us in response to something on this topic about paying all this money. With that comes expectations. Dude, you can't do that. Don't put that pressure on your kid because you chose to spend money on it.
Right. Maybe we got kind of the better end of the stick because we don't have to buy a lot of stuff for volleyball.
It's definitely a cheaper sport than some of the other sports.
Yeah.
I think I've heard hockey is even worse.
Something I never even thought about.
Yeah,
Probably the same for basketball. There's not a lot of equipment that you need for basketball. Not that everything else is the same. The travel expenses are the same and everything. But it's definitely not the kids' responsibility to perform because they wanted to play, so you're allowing it and making it possible, but it's not their responsibility to perform up to a certain level because you did that.
Yeah. Again, the parents need to recognize what this is about.
Yeah.
It is just a game. It's about their experience. It's not about us. Our youth was over a long time ago. That part of our life is a distant memory, and now it's our job as parents to help them enjoy this temporary phase in their life.
Yeah.